Hey, what's up guys, Tony here, and you're watching some more Project Cars. This is of course GT5, and this is week 4 at Brands Hatch. And so for this track, this is the sprint race. Nothing really out of the ordinary for this race. I am really never been good at, what is this, turn 1, 2, 3, I guess it'd be turn 4. So the long sort of sweepy left-hander uphill. Never been particularly good at that turn. Also, what I'll say about this race before I get onto the topic at hand is that I didn't qualify because I got tired of qualifying and being in front of the pack, so I decided just not to qualify and go from the back and see how far I can push up. So there were a couple times you'll notice that I pretty much punt the shit out of the AI. I think I did it twice, specifically in the same corner. The second time was more of an accident because I didn't think I was going to jump as far as I did, but I did. So I was pretty aggressive with the AI because I wanted to get around him. So there's really not much else to say about that. So I hope you guys enjoy the race. So the topic that I want to talk about is sort of the community effort that is caregiving, and that as I've known it for the last 7 years. I'm actually not going to go into like the whole 7 years, but I actually want to talk about, I guess, the last number of days to weeks, and I guess more milestones, and that's kind of what this series has been for me, is just kind of a way to discuss and deal with these sort of milestones that I'm dealing with right now in my life as a caregiver for my grandmother. Today was the first day that I actually saw her room, the room that my uncle secured a number of weeks ago. She became a resident officially like last Thursday or Friday, or maybe even sooner, I don't really remember, but it was last week. And so she's officially a resident, she's not moved in yet. And so my uncle moved a bed in yesterday, I believe. And so I went today to go help set up. And I'll be honest, I kind of was expecting that my reaction would be like I'd walk away from the experience like a little bit more beaten up, a little bit more anxious. And surprised to say, I actually walked out of the experience feeling very good. And I don't know if it's because I've sort of come to terms with the finality of what's going to happen. I really don't know. But the last several weeks, whenever any sort of steps were taken to put my grandmother into this facility, I found myself becoming very anxious and very agitated and very down. And I don't feel that way, surprisingly. Not yet. I don't, you know, it's been pretty much all day, and I just don't, I think that's a good thing. I want to say that's sort of growth. I want to say that's me accepting the end. Like the end is coming for her, not, you know, her life, but just her life in this house. And so I think I've finally come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to be her caregiver anymore. And that was something that I think I was really having a hard time with. So maybe it was a bit cathartic to go and see this room. It's a fairly big room. This place used to be a hotel that she's going to. And she's got her own like private bathroom, closet. It's a decent sized room, if you will. And you know, it's in this secure wing, so they can't just get out and walk around. Although I think they can, because if you open there's like a security door, but if you open the door and you're not buzzed through by somebody, then it just makes some god-awful noise. So I don't think it's a secure, like they've arranged it in such a way where they can just kind of go in a circle, basically. But they can't really get out. But anyway, so it's actually a very nice facility. This is the first time that I've actually been there, and it was interesting. It really was interesting. I've been to a couple of these sort of retirement communities while I was working as a delivery driver for Pizza Hut, but they were really depressing, like really depressing places. You know, these were probably like hospice style facilities where like the nurses were asked, they ordered the pizza. I did have one customer actually order pizza who was or not a resident, but I guess a patient at one of these places. But it was just really depressing. I don't mean to laugh about it, but I mean it was just really depressing when I look back on it. But that's like totally not what this place is. It's a very nice place. And so, like I said, I saw it today. today was day one of moving stuff in. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, I posted some pictures. So if you're interested in that, I guess I'll post a link to the my Twitter, which I always do. But I guess my Instagram, I'll post that if you guys are interested in seeing. It's a collection of just my random musings, you know, photographic musings. But lately I've been posting a lot of stuff about my grandmother, and I guess it's a sort of a way to archive. You know, even though it's going to be on my phone, I'm going to have this phone for the next couple of years, but it's also a way for me to put it somewhere else for safekeeping, I guess. So anyways, I posted some pictures about that. Tomorrow I'm going back. I'm going to help my uncle set up a TV and set up an entertainment center and a TV for her. He wants to go buy a lamp. He wants to go buy some other things. And then we're going to bring some more clothes in for her. We're trying to get to a point where we can just like get her in as swiftly as we can with as little distress to her as possible, and to us as well. My mom, she said, because the plan is for Tuesday, because Tuesday is the move-in day for her. So Tuesday, my mom's going to pick her up and take her to lunch or wherever, or take her out. And so my uncle and I guess a friend of his, are going to pack some stuff up in a truck, and we're going to take it over to the facility. And so we have to unpack this up, set the room up, make it all final, and then bounce. Because, well, not really bounce, because we'll see her in. But what I was going to say is my mom, she doesn't want to take her into the facility. I don't think she wants that responsibility. So it'll fall upon my shoulders and my uncle's shoulders to basically walk her to her room. So, although I don't quite understand my mom's hesitance to go through with this, because she's going to see her once she's in the facility anyways, but it's there. She doesn't, she just doesn't want to be a part of it. So I'm going to be there tomorrow, and of course Tuesday, and I'll be taking more pictures. Like I'm just going to be documenting this, and then I'm going to be taking pictures of my house, because I have an idea for a book, and I mentioned this before. But last night, for whatever reason, I just sort of had this serendipitous moment where I just like had clarity of how I want to write this book, this one particular book. I'm going to more than likely try to write a couple. It's kind of funny because a lot of my creative thoughts lately have been stifled just because of stress and depression and a lot of other things. But yesterday, and I think the day before and today especially, my creativity has been flowing, and it's one of those things that I kind of was curious about whether or not after this was all over, if my creativity was going to sort of revolve around this experience. Because, you know, you go through certain things, and if you want to write about certain aspects, you find that certain authors seem to always be writing about the same thing. It's the things that they know, right? So like Stephen King always seems to write about, was it Maine? And all the stories take place in Maine. And so I've come up with a number of ideas that basically are, the central themes is Alzheimer's, or a caregiver, or well, I guess it's just a caregiver and Alzheimer's. Those are like the two central themes, and a lot of it is pulling upon my own experiences to sort of create a narrative that is, I feel, unique. And so it's kind of interesting. It's nice to have my creative juices flowing again. But anyways, I'll be documenting that stuff. And so if you want to look, you want to see into it, I'm going to be making a video about it when it's all over, and I guess just to sort of reflect upon this experience, not the entire experience, but this particular week, and then maybe I'll go through and I'll reflect upon the last 7 years in a longer video. But anyways, other milestones. Saturday we had some people over, I guess nieces and nephews of my grandmother, which was nice to meet those people. I've seen them once or twice before in my life, so I don't really know who they are all the way, but I had some good conversations with those people, very nice people. And it was nice to see that this group of family members come together to sort of see my grandmother off. I don't want to say it was like a wake, but it kind of felt like a wake. You know, I don't know if you guys have had to deal with death in the family. I've only, fortunately, had to deal with one death in my family so far. You know, there's really nothing like a wake. It's a sort of an indescribable feeling, just because it's so heavy. It's such a heavy day. But that's kind of what I got from this. You know, there was a lot of chit chatter, a lot of conversation, and there was a lot of token conversation and sort of token last, like, it's good to see you, I hope you do well, sort of comments. And I think that's the nature of the beast. So Anyways, that happened. I talked about last week. I talked about the evaluations. My younger brother came down. He lives about an hour and 15 minutes away or so, but he came down. He didn't make it down yesterday, which I was kind of hoping, but he made it down today. Didn't bring his family, which I was really hoping for. But actually, it was a really good day. He and I just spent a good day together, just chit-chatting. So I spent the last, I don't know, too much time talking about this other stuff. Well, you know what I will say is just sort of because this is really all I wanted to talk about, is that it's kind of funny when you're coming together and you're trying to do something for a person, and in a caregiving situation, you start to find out that people have different ideas about what they think is best for the person in question. So in this case, my grandmother, my aunt, my uncle, and I are sort of, and my mom are the big four when it comes to decision making. Lately, it's just kind of been my aunt, my uncle, and I lately. And that's really for no other reason than my mom is kind of far away at this point. But anyways, we were talking about what do we need to bring next for my grandmother, what should we do to make her comfortable, and my uncle is pretty much going overboard. He wants to bring in chairs and lamps and all this other stuff, really clutter the small room up. And I keep telling him, hey, look, I've been living there for the last 7.5 years. She's not going to use all that stuff. You know, what we've got is fine, and we're going to maybe add a lamp. She won't use it, but if it makes you feel better, add a lamp, but not a big chair. There's no room for it. But what I've noticed throughout this whole process is that basically what my uncle wants goes. And so he's good enough to ask us for our feedback, but sure enough, what's going to end up happening is it's whatever he wants is going to happen. And so, you know, it's not a fight that I want to have. I wish he would just listen to me a little bit more, but he wants to lift a chair and take it and move it in. That's great. I just, you know, it's just kind of funny when you start to see, you know, because my aunt and I are pretty much on the same page, but my uncle, for whatever reason, he's going overboard. And maybe that's just something that, I don't know, he just needs to deal with. I'm not sure. It's just interesting the way it works out, because I mean, he's in the position of authority. He's a power of attorney over my grandmother. Like, he's the decision maker. He's the executor of the trust, and so he's a he's a micromanager to no end. But he has my grandmother's best interest at heart. It just sucks that he's sort of going overboard. But that's kind of like a very abridged version of I think what I wanted to talk about. I just didn't I didn't get around to it. I just kind of, I don't know, rambled or whatever. But at any rate, it just feels good to talk about this stuff and just get it off my chest. And I really appreciate you guys, you know, video after video so far that I've done. I really appreciate you guys watching, commenting, sharing if you do. I really appreciate that. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I shall talk to you guys later.